Tonight, as we continue our anniversary month special, we revisit some of the conversations I've had with the gospel artists that have been guests on this show. Tonight on Streamstock Africa.
From Cape Town to Cairo and from Mogadishu to Dakar, this is Streamstock Africa. Here's your host, Chim Onyibilanma.
Hi there, my name is Chim Onyibilanma and I'm your host. Thank you for joining us. Like you've heard, tonight is another week in our anniversary month. August is our second anniversary this year, and tonight we'll be revisiting the conversations I've had with the gospel artists we've had on this show. We'll be looking at people like Nathaniel Bassey, the renowned gospel artist, Dr. Tumi, the well-known South Africa gospel artist, as well as Wale Adenuga, the writer of the song Today. But before we go into that, like I mentioned last week, we are having a special deal for you on our YouTube channel. Because of our anniversary month, we're giving away every week prizes. All you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that is free. Use the information on the screen. We'll be giving away a copy of this book, Church Mafia by Pastor Makado Ramabulani. This was a former false prophet that we had on this show a while back. And this book is about the story of how he lost it, went into witchcraft, seeking power to grow the church, and became a false prophet, and how God delivered him, and how to avoid falling into the hands of false prophets. We're giving this out to people every week. A winner will take away this, but not only this, several other cash prizes also are going away every week. So every Friday on our YouTube channel, there'll be a new competition. So head down there using the information on your screen, and you might actually be one of the winners. Now, one of the things I always ask this gospel artist is their motivation. For me, the why is more important than the how. And it shows me the well from where their inspiration and the songs they produce come from. And I was really touched as I listened to them. For example, what Nathaniel Bassey shared at the roots, his roots and the foundation of who he is today. Nathaniel Bassey, the renowned gospel artist who is well known all around. Here's what he shared about his roots. But before we do that, please like this video and leave a comment below. Let's know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button and share this video with somebody else.
I've been blessed to have, good training. I had a great mentor who couldn't care about your level of skill. I mean, if he wasn't anchored on godly character,
Wow.
I mean, if you like sing and let fire come out from your head, it had to be anchored on godly character.
That's such a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, my late Pastor Esco, I didn't understand when people would come to say, oh, let him travel, he's got a great skill, and he said to them, he's not ready.
Wow.
The character is not formed. I just thought this man
protected
was
you.
wicked.
Wow.
I would go to the music room, ask, what kind of man is this one? There are people here to take me to America, and you are saying he's not ready. He's not ready. How do you know I'm not ready? But the truth is, I
He's
wasn't
trying
ready.
to stand in your way.
I wasn't ready. I thought I was ready based on skill. I could play the trumpet and people will jump and shout. But then, character,
So the skill was ready, but the character was still being formed.
Oh, yes. I was just like,
And it's important that the two work together.
Oh, yes. It was just like the Bible saying that the child was in the wilderness until his day of showing.
Yeah.
There is a day of showing, and I believe the day of showing is predicated more upon character. God is a good God. He won't put a load on you that you can't carry. And character is the infrastructure that hosts your gift.
Wow. So some people come out before their day of showing, and because they don't have the infrastructure to carry that gift,
That's why it's called a weight of glory.
a weight of glory.
Weight.
Wow.
Weight.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
I mean, you
Wow.
carry it and there's no character.
Wow.
Then you come in, you make an impact. It's like a flash and then you're gone.
Yeah.
So character ensures posterity and longevity of your gift.
For Dr. Tumi, the great songwriter from South Africa, he shared this about the heart behind what he does.
I think at that point I realized the more that I feel there's people's destinies attached to it. There's a message that's gonna bring hope to somebody else.
There's a calling.
Yeah, I mean, I know how music can speak to you.
Yeah.
I grew up in church and I played all my life, and I listened to music, and you'd get something out of spirit-filled music. It will just speak to you. You don't have to always agree or know what it is, but you can get a sense that this is directed at me. It's a message that people need to hear. And I think my heart was settled that if it's just for one person, I'm still happy. If Christ gave his life away, if all the money that I put in is just so that one person gets saved or encouraged, that's good enough for me. And life is surely worth more than money if Christ paid with his life, right?
Isn't that fantastic? And Wale Adenuga, who is well known for the song Tudeo, this is what he shared about the backside of who he is.
Yeah, I think what we've seen in churches, and I think this is all over, is that talent is now being placed over the state of the heart. But the truth of the matter is that talent is not enough. I think God would rather use a broken heart than a great talent, and that's exactly what I'm trying to communicate, that I've been in a place where I had the talent and the talent actually failed me. I really couldn't help, so I really couldn't help the people until God actually, I was broken and God could actually use me to do the things that I'm doing today.
I'm often curious when I sit with this gospel artist, and my curiosity comes from just the impact that the songs have. I can't explain it. Music is such a gift from God. It's beyond the sum of the lyrics and the voice and the sounds. There's something that comes together about it that is so imparting, especially anointed music. And that's why many times I pose this question to this artist about how do they come about the songs? And this is what they had to say.
So at a point in time, I think it was 1987, my family and I lived in a university campus in a town called Ife, and our house got burnt down. We lost absolutely everything. And at that point in time, no one was a Christian in the family. We only went to church 3 times a year, on Christmas Day, Easter Sunday, and New Year's Day. And a year after, I got born again a year after, and I was coming back to visit my parents, I think about 3 years after, and I was in a taxi, and the words just came to me. Today I will lift up my voice in praise, basically as a vow to God, saying to him that no matter what I face, even when troubles come my way, I will praise him.
Different days, it comes differently. At a point, it's just a word that just drops in your spirit, and you grow a heart of gratitude, and you just think, oh man, I'm so grateful, and you write a song around gratitude. You're sitting at church and somebody's preaching about something, and you get a message from that, and you put it into a song.
And that's it.
Yeah, so...
How long does it take you? 3 weeks?
No, man. A couple of minutes to write. I write quick.
30 minutes?
10 minutes, maybe. I write quite quick.
So once the inspiration comes,
yeah,
it doesn't. Do you go on polishing it over a long while, or is it that most times it comes ready?
Hardly. I mean, I write and I'm done.
And it's
That's
done.
it. When I leave, I'm done. Unless I'm lazy and I'm halfway, I'll finish it up tomorrow. But the concept itself is done from the word go. And I think what you fiddle with is how many times you sing what, but the song structure, the song itself,
it's done.
It's done.
To be honest, I was in a prayer meeting with a friend, a man of God, just a friend of mine, and then he gave a prophetic word that God's going to give me a song. It would be English and vernacular that would go around the world. I forgot about it, and then I woke up Sunday morning. I was late for church, and then I was tired, and then. Interestingly, TBN was on. I had, a sermon or some event or something. And then I just began to deeply, muse and think upon the finished work of, of Jesus Christ on the cross. I just thought, how could God come down and die for me? I couldn't understand it. And the natural response to that thought, that meditation was, thank you.
Thank you,
Emailer. So I began to say emailer. Emailer means thank you.
Yeah.
So I sang that for a while, and then the week was going to be the new week was going to be our church anniversary, 16-year anniversary. So I thought, okay, I was going to write a song. So I thought, okay, we'll do this as a thank you song. And as I sang the song, the verses just kept coming, kept downloading them. And by Wednesday, when we began the conference, the song was a blast in church. It was and it was an instant
Even
hit.
before it was recorded or anything.
Oh yeah, we just the first verse, and we had this explosion of God's glory in church.
Praise God.
And afterwards, it's gone on to bless the nations of the earth. And it's nothing I can take credit for. It's purely, as the song says, is a song about the grace of God.
For me, for each of the artists I spoke to, there was something that stood out for me. Take, for example, Nathaniel Bassey. It was his humility that stood out. And here's what he had to say about it.
Well, the question is, how complex was Jesus? Jesus, who's our ultimate example, was such a simple man. He was and is God. All of the things we say about him, but yet, he was born in a manger. He associated with, everybody. And every time I look at him, he just blesses me, and I want to be more like him. And the truth of the matter is, the more of God a man sees, the less of himself he sees. I always say to people that pride says I'm full of myself, but humility says I'm empty, just pour into me. And God says he gives grace to the humble. So the more I get deep in my walk with God, the more of him I see and the less of myself. And so when that dear lady said, Daddy, and it was really from my heart. I wasn't trying to, to play to the crowd. I'm like, oh, that's too big for me. Brother is okay, just brother Nat. And you don't see in the Bible Apostle Paul. You find Paul the Apostle.
It's a work he did.
Yeah, so it's a role. So it's not a title,
Don't you get tempted to look like, wow, that's me up there on that big poster? Does that ever happen to you?
And to be honest, it would cross your mind, one or two times, to feel that you're all that and a bag of chips. But like I said, the more
You're what?
You're all that and a bag of chips. You're the best thing after sliced bread. But the truth of the matter is, every time a man sets his eyes on Jesus, you see, in Isaiah 6, the prophet who was prophesying from chapter 1 to 5 accurately, it was spot on, great prophecies accurately. But in 6, he says, the year King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord. And then he said, I'm a man of unclean lips.
Wow.
So what lips were you using from verse 1 to 5?
Chapter 1 to 5.
So, that's a big lesson, because every time you see God in his glory, you see yourself vis-a-vis him, and you see how not so good you are.
Wow.
Yes, you have all these great songs, but you see, it is grace, it is blood. So there isn't any space to glory. So it's the presence of God that transforms us. The moment you take your eyes off Jesus, you see yourself.
For Dr. Tumi, what stood out for me was the fact that this is a man who thinks big, who believes that there is more, who stretches himself. And this is what he had to say about it.
I think one of the biggest things that people do that I've noticed is that people arrive. And when you arrive, you have no space to grow. So when you do something, you feel like this is it. And I've always thought there's always more to God. And you must always keep that at the back of your mind, no matter how big it gets.
Okay.
You must just have that, this is so small for God. And if you start off there, it creates a desire for the more. Because, if I did this, and what could be bigger than this? And you sort out that and find out what the more is. And I believe God has called me for the world. I've never really believed he's called me to
South Africa.
Yeah.
We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue to look at some of the conversations we still had with this gospel artist. From Durban in South Africa, as well as from various parts of Africa, join me each week as I interview leaders from across the continent, and we seek to unpack the issues facing Africa from God's perspective.
We cannot solve the problems of South Africa with fighting.
The church needs to rediscover its own prophetic voice.
There are some conversations you can't afford to miss. This is Streamstock Africa. Welcome back. Now, I normally ask the artists about their home because of the very tight schedule they manage. How do they manage with their family? Now, for Dr. Tumi, I had the pleasure of having him and his wife around for one of the conversations, and we had a whole episode with him and his wife. You might want to go and watch that on YouTube. It's one of our most watched videos. Now, I put this question about how do they balance life, him and his wife. Here is what he said with his wife.
It's just having an understanding between the two of us, really. And I don't think we really flaunt our relationship to the world. It's a very personal thing. It's we really don't set that out to people, and it's one of those things that we have for ourselves, and it's us. And even with our kids, I mean, it's how it works. Like, we really just try and protect everybody from the public spaces, and
that's wise.
My feeling about it is there are things that you should have to yourself, and this is our space. Everything else in our lives we share with everybody, but our relationship.
You share your gifts, you share your
absolutely.
Ministry, but you try and protect your family from all the fanfares.
Yeah.
How do you? I mean, what do you feel about that question? Do you feel any pressure about this position you find yourself in?
Not at all. I think that the biggest thing in our marriage has been communication.
Okay.
And I think what also helps is the fact that we work together. So everything that happens, it happens. We are fully aware of it, of what's supposed to happen and everything. So it's never really a bit too much. In
my chat with Nathaniel Bassey about his wife and family, here's what he had to say.
I will say both. From time to time, I will do. I know there was a post I put up a month ago about my wife, just being grateful for her being my wife, because she pays a huge price for what I do, just allowing me to travel the world. But then also you want to, protect them. And then my wife was also a little bit laid back in terms of media, publicity. She likes to be at the back. Even in church, she doesn't want to sit near the pastors. So she sits at the back.
At the back, praying.
It's both of them. But she's comfortable just being in the background, taking care of the children and praying. She's such an amazing woman. I probably wouldn't be here if I didn't marry her.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Of course, our heart on this show is to talk about how to shine the light in Africa. So invariably, I always would come back to the question of how do these gospel artists perceive their role in shaping Africa? Or what do they see as the future of worship and the future of this great continent? And this is some of the exciting things they shared.
I believe God puts in a position of influence so that you can influence situations, and you're not just a voice, you're not just on a stage just for yourself. You're on a stage so that you may contribute to whatever needs of society. I mean, we started a foundation, Dr. Tumi Foundation. The purpose of it really is to look at needs that are happening.
Wonderful.
And how people we did a charity concert in Soweto for the people that were involved in the fire in Khayelitsha.
Wow.
A few years ago, we were in the University of Lagos ministering with a friend of mine. I mean, he had this worship meeting, and while we're ministering, it became like a prophetic worship meeting. So we kept saying that there was a sound rising from Africa, that there was a sound coming from the desert lands to the distant lands, and that in a matter of time, you know, songs from Africa will be sung in nations of the earth. And we're seeing them come to pass.
Okay.
You know, so we've just watched
it's
the
happening
video.
now?
Yeah, we're seeing.
Yeah, of course, in the video.
I mean, I go to Caucasian churches
in the West.
In the West, and you hear them sing literally not just English African songs, but you know, indigenous songs with indigenous languages. You know, singing and really blessed by them, and we're seeing the word of God come to pass. And I think that speaks of something greater coming.
Yeah.
You know, I had said that before a move of God will come a sound.
Yes.
You know, the prophet in 2 Kings said, "Bring me a minstrel."
Yeah.
You know, when he played, when there was a sound, then the hand of God moved.
Yeah.
You know, in the book of Acts, there came a rushing mighty wind. There was a sound from heaven. And then there was, you know, cloven fire. There was a move of the Spirit.
Coming upon them,
So I think that, you know, beyond the songs and the worship, I mean, we see gospel, you know, we receive the gospel from the West. Now we're taking it back. I see that it would go beyond just music, beyond worship. I see that a time will come, Africa would export things to the West.
Wow.
You know, I mean, I am seeing that there will be cars from Africa.
Wow.
Taken to the West.
Amen.
There will be, you know, I mean, we won't just export our raw materials.
We'll be exporting our finished products. So we're going away from being consumers to be
from
producers.
being a consumer continent and nation to being producers, to being inventors
and innovators,
and you know, innovators.
So the sound is going ahead before even the move.
You know, there's going to be a spiritual renaissance, economic renaissance, social, and you know, every other kind of revivals.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. This is where we'll be wrapping up. Please don't forget, we're giving away a copy of this book every week on our YouTube channel. Please go there and subscribe and begin to win along with others. Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation. We'll see you next week with another special for you. God bless you. Please like this video and leave a comment below. Let's know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button and share this video with somebody else.